extravaganza today and a slightly different live stream. Um, just to get all this out of the way first, firstly, this will be on YouTube podcast and YouTube video. Given the content that's about to be furnished to yourselves, I can't imagine there's going to be much demand to re-listen to this again because it's kind of not a great story, but hopefully we'll end up having a happy ending. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Can I also apologise for two things? Originally, I was meant to be doing this just over a week ago, I think, and for some inexplicable reason, I woke up that day to find out that this live stream was already going without my participation. I'm assuming I got hacked. I have no idea, absolutely no idea what actually happened. But basically, I ended up watching my own live stream, which was a bit weird. Still don't know what happened that day, so yeah, apologies to anyone that was waiting, because obviously this is a subject that affects a lot of people. This morning again, can I apologise? It's probably a good illustration of what I'm going to talk about today, which is how Liverpool relates to my mental health journey, particularly over the last 2 years at least. Basically, I'm going to get into all my horrible conditions and this, that, and the other as we go along. I'm just going to pull up some my Liverpool stuff as well, actually, on internet, just to see if we've actually done anything that's vaguely Liverpool related, i.e. signings of centre backs, which would be wonderful, and if bad boy Bezos is going to be joining us anytime soon, yay. So one of my conditions is sleep apnea, and basically for the second time I was meant to do this live stream at, I think I'd set it for 1, and I thought to myself, well, because of my sleep apnea, I won't take the risk. I'll just I'll set it for 1 o'clock, because I'll obviously have woken up by at least midday. Turns out no. Sleep apnea is getting very much worse, and I actually woke up, went to bed last night, probably 1 o'clock in the morning. I literally woke up 20 minutes ago. That's how bad that it's got now. So again, I apologise for the lateness and stuff. But yeah, it all kind of ties into what's happening. And I get the Liverpool thing is going to be a bit of a weird link for people, but it kind of makes sense in context. Oh, this is going to be a bit difficult. So yeah, if there are any comments and stuff, obviously I'll answer them periodically. But basically, it's kind of more of a mental health thing. So I hope everyone kind of understands that it's going to be a bit difficult for me to break off on and on. And yeah, there is a Liverpool link. But yeah, if there are any comments, just bear with us, because this is kind of more super difficult than I was going to give it credit for, to be honest. But yeah. Also, as well, I'll do some Liverpool stuff at the end, obviously. I actually don't know what's cracked off today. Hopefully there is another centre-back. Obviously, Araujo joined us yesterday. Thank Christ almighty for that. He looks like a bloody unit, doesn't he? Yeah, do you know what? I'll make a start. So, for the last... Well, let me try that again. In April last year, basically, I had the rough equivalent of a breakdown, and it was work related. A lot of it stems from work, but a lot of it is, looking back on it, stuff that's happened to me in the past. But yeah, on the 4th of April 2025, none of get the date. If you look at how my channel's titled, where it says 4-25, that's the reason. Basically, I was, for want of a better phrase, publicly humiliated at my place of work in front of an entire HR department by people who should know better. And basically, for want of a better phrase, my brain just went, brain broke for a long, long time. And as a result of what I consider to be workplace harassment, I basically have been diagnosed with panic attacks, anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, depression, I think I got diagnosed with, I'm not too sure. My sleep apnea, like I said, as you've seen this morning, because I now cannot get up without an alarm, or Mrs. Meta to actually help me to get me up, has gotten exponentially worse. Basically now, due to my sleep apnea, I actually stopped breathing in the middle of the night. I think at its worst, I think I stopped breathing at an average of 25 times a night, which I was told by obviously a local healthcare provider, which obviously was quite scary. And yeah, all of this was a result, not all of it, because this has been a build-up of many, many years of basically being a 90s lad, not listening to my missus, not listening to my mom, not listening to mates, and refusing to go to the doctors because apparently I am so much better than medical professionals, and basically just being a dumb bloke and saying, "Oh, just crack on. There's no such thing as depression. Bloody people moaning on. Get on with it." Which I now know it was completely and utterly bloody stupid. And yeah, I now have several conditions, which, still being a 90s lad, I'm going to preface with, look, what the stuff that I've got is nowhere near to some of the horrendous shit that people are going through around the world. It's not even close. But yeah, that's the state of play at the minute. So basically, what I've been doing is I'm currently trying to write a book called let's have a look. Hey, Ubek? Ubak. Hello, Usab. Hello, Usab. Please, Roblox. I don't know anything about Roblox, Ubak. It's definitely not one of those live streams today, but my son likes Roblox. I'll ask him. So, yeah, basically, after everything that I've been through, I decided about, I don't know, but 3 or 4 months ago, to write a book called Liverpool Mental Health and Monsters, which is going to detail everything to do with what's happened with the workplace stuff, what the links are to Liverpool Football Club, basically, because I didn't actually realise at the time, but basically a lot of the shit that I've been through is tied in either tenuously or quite weirdly to Liverpool Football Club. Thank you, mate. Just in relation to the fact that they've always kind of been there for me in good times and bad times, which I guess is the same for everyone. I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, look, folks, this isn't going to be like me giving you my entire life story because no one wants to hear that at the end of the day. Um, but basically, I started supporting Liverpool in August. Apologies for any subscribers who've heard this before. I'm sure you've heard me waffle on about this, but I started supporting Liverpool in August 1990, I think, just after the World Cup, because basically I love John Barnes. Asked my dad who he played for, and he said Liverpool. I said, oh, I'll support Liverpool then. My dad was very had his reservations because he famously knew that I did not care a jot about football, and I wanted to watch like Wile E. Coyote versus Roadrunner and Tom and Jerry and Thundercats and Transformers and all that stuff back in the day. And I would demand to know why my dad in his own house was watching football when the cartoons were on, because this was at a point where there was no we didn't have multiple TVs, young children. There was one TV with 4 channels. So yeah, shout out to the old man for being questioned by a 6-year-old lad as to why he wanted to watch TV in his own house. I can relate now. So yeah, I started supporting Liverpool 1990, and yeah, it was. Sorry, folks, just bear with me because this is kind of more difficult than I gave it credit for. Yeah, supported Liverpool, and this went through school. First ever trophy was when Michael Thomas kind of made up for his denying us the title in '89 by scoring an absolute worldie at Wembley Stadium. We beat Sunderland 2-0 to win the FA Cup. That was in 1992. Meant the absolute world to me. It was my first ever trophy. I didn't realise that. Let's have a look. Jada, hello. Just in case I'm not pronouncing your name right, hello 758. Hope you're okay. And yeah, it meant the absolute world to me. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I didn't really cotton on to the fact at the time that all Liverpool had done essentially was beaten a second division team in a Wembley final with players like Ian Rush and John Barnes and God knows who. In fact, Barnes wasn't playing that day; he got injured, I think. But yeah, players like Maka, Michael Thomas, Ian Rush. I think Dean Saunders played that day. Not too sure. And yeah, in fact, one of the places that I should really start with the whole Liverpool thing. And like I said, hopefully this is all going to be in a big shiny book in a couple of years. It's going to take me a long time to write this, but I went to Ghana in 1991 to see family, and again, people who subscribe to me will know what I'm about to say. I got diagnosed with malaria while I was there, and basically nearly died. I think a doctor who didn't realise I was listening at the time, because Ghanaians can be quite blunt on occasion, and basically said, "Oh, I think he's got about 3 days to live or something like that." And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" And I was covered in a mosquito net and this, that, and the other, and it was shit, and it was a whole thing. And I don't know why, but when I got home from Accra Royal Infirmary, whatever the hospital of Accra is called now or was then, I was. A couple of family members came over and said, "Is there anything that you want?" And obviously, I had breathing difficulties and this, that, and the other, and it was, touch and go. And I couldn't tell you why to this day, but I said, "I want to listen to the Liverpool match," and they were like, "What are you on about?" And I said, "It's the Merseyside derby today," and I have no idea to this day how or why I'd remembered that as like a 10-year-old child or 11, whatever I was at the time. But Liverpool were playing Everton I mean, this is years and years ago. I want to say it was maybe mid-August, something along those lines. Anyway, we actually beat Everton 3-1 that day, and I remember, I think it was David Burrows scored a worldie after, I don't know, it was something like 30 seconds. I think Dean Saunders got one, Ray Houghton got one, Robert Washitska, I believe his name was, um, got like a consolation for Everton. But basically, long story short, we battered them, and literally, and I'm not spiritual, don't believe in miracles, to quote the song. I have no sort of religious thing of any kind whatsoever. Haven't got faith, anything along those lines. But honestly, when Liverpool won that match, I started getting better. Maybe it was the drugs, maybe it was the drip, I don't know. But all I can say is the moment Liverpool won that match, I started getting better, and 2 days later I was better. It was probably more to do with the amount of drugs and stuff that were working to beat the malaria. But yeah, that was my first sort of thing with Liverpool. And like I said, I didn't really realise it at the time. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but basically, what I write about in the book, and again for YouTube, this is not a paid promotion. I'm just telling people what I'm doing with my personal life. Liverpool were kind of always there for me, especially in school. Even though we were really, really shit while I was at school, which didn't help matters. I got massively bullied, racial abuse, basically, for a couple of years, and didn't tell anyone about it. You can see a pattern here, can't you? Cracked on, got on with stuff, because that's how it was in the 90s. You didn't go around grabbing your parents and like disturbing them and stuff. There was no mental health stuff in the early 90s. Kids bullied kids. That was what happened, kind of thing. And yeah, it was utterly horrendous. I went to a school in Derby. I won't put that school on blast, but it's one of the biggest schools in Alistry, if you want to find out who they are. And yeah, for a couple of years there, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. But the one thing that I always had was Liverpool Football Club. Even when they were losing, I always had them to like have them as a comfort and stuff. I remember when we won the League Cup against Bolton, 1995, again second division. But again, I hadn't seen us win a trophy for 3 years. It was absolutely amazing. That gave me a huge, huge, huge boost. One of the really bad things at school was I had about 6 months to go, and basically, you know, you see prison films like Shawshank and stuff, where they, you know, where they do the five with the strike through. I'd actually done one of those on some crappy bits of paper. I'd actually tried to work out how many days I had left at school. And obviously for 2 years it was like, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and like for a while, I would literally tick all of them off just to see how long I had left. And it got to about 5 months to go, 6 months to go, whatever it was. And again, it was one of those really random moments for Liverpool. I basically went. It was November '95. I remember that, and I'd had a really bad time at school again, and I went into our bathroom, and obviously didn't do anything on it, but I saw one of my old fella's razors, and something popped into my head which shouldn't have been there, basically, which I was never going to act upon, I should just say. And shout out to everyone who's struggled with that sort of thing over the years. Wouldn't wish it on anyone. But because it popped into my head, obviously I was very distressed, and it was horrible, and this, that, and the other. Ran back into my bedroom, and first thought was to put Five Live on, because I'd forgotten we were playing. and I put Five Live on just as Mark Wright scored a second goal for Liverpool at Loftus Road against Queen's Park Rangers, and we won that game that day. Again, coincidence, randomness, I don't know. I'm assuming it was just a random thing. Who knows? But again, Liverpool there for me when I needed it. Like I said, I'm not going to go for all my life, guys, because it's very boring and uninteresting. Well, apart from the stuff when I was a teenager through till 30, but I'll try and keep that to a minimum for my family's sake. But yeah, probably the next example would be my old fella. We went to go and see Liverpool versus Grimsby Town at Anfield, which I think I've told you guys before. And it was an awesome day. Got to hang out with my dad. He was proper excited about Michael Owen, ironically enough, because Owen scored a hat-trick that day, and we had a really great day out. And it was great to see my dad smile, and he was really, really pumped that we'd seen the football. And it was great hanging out with my dad. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, the workplace have been in touch. Wow. Well, workplace. I'll get to you in a minute. Yeah, and it was a really, really great day with my dad, and I was looking forward to us going again, maybe next season. And I think it was 80 days later that he died. 21st December 1997. And obviously it was pretty horrific for a 17-year-old lad to have to go through that. Shout out to my mum for being the bravest woman of all time for raising up two children in those circumstances. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of strength that must have taken. So thank you to my mum for that. And yeah, look, first, obviously, losing a parent. Look, we've all lost people at the end of the day. I'm no one special at the end of the day. I'm sure all of you have lost people as well. But it broke my heart because I love my dad, and he was a dude, looked after his family. He was volunteer, gave blood, helped young accountancy apprentices with his knowledge and his time, which he didn't have to do. He was just he was a really, really good bloke. He was a really good bloke, and I'm super proud that I was his son. And it's 28 years ago. In fact, is it 28 or is it 29 now? God, my maths is so shit. I think it's 29 years this year. What year are we on? Yeah, 29 years this year in December. And before I get to the main mental health stuff, folks, if to take a sidebar, even if you lost someone 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever age you are, if you are struggling with it, or if you've just recently lost someone, either today or the day before, there are no limitations on grief. I always put my limitations at, oh well, my dad's been dead for a year now, that's all gone, and never really accepted it, to be honest. Go and talk to someone, and if you've got no one, which I know a lot of people have, please go and speak to a wellbeing service. Go to, if you're a bloke, go to Andy Man's Club. Just search online help for grief and find someone. There are no limitations on grief, folks, at the end of the day. And if you still love and miss someone after a quarter of a century, cry and literally speak to someone about it. And that's not me being woke. which I'm sure I'll get accused of. Just speak to someone about it, however long it's been, and don't bottle it up, because that's what I'm getting to now. I bottled that shit up for 27 years, and I don't know if I can go as far to say nearly killed me, but it's had a huge detrimental impact on my life by not dealing with it. Yeah, make sure you speak to someone. And if any of my subscribers or any mates that I've got on here, if any of you want to talk about any sort of shit like losing your parent, losing your brother, losing your husband, or anything on those lines, I will always speak to people on here or any of my social media platforms and blah 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 blah. I will always happily speak to you about that sort of stuff, because I know how hard it is, and I struggle with it every single day. I really, really do miss my dad. I can feel the first tear ducts coming. Hopefully tear duct, if you could not start just yet, because it's going to get a little bit worse. Yeah, no, I miss my dad every single day. I went to Anfield this weekend, as many of you know, and I was sat in the Kop end, sort of right hand side of the Kop, and my attention was immediately drawn to just past the dugouts, obviously where Iriola and his coaching staff sit now. About 20 rows beyond that was where me and me old fella sat for Liverpool versus Grimsby in 1997, and that was when the players came out, and genuinely I found myself concentrating on that area, because literally that's where me and my dad were 29 years ago. So speak to someone. It's worth it, folks, and don't let any, and I will swear, absolute moronic bellend tell you that you're being woke or mental health is not real. Just ignore them, because they are a bunch of absolute effing idiots who are just trying to make themselves feel better about their own shitty lives. So just ignore them, because they are utter and complete unworthy scumbags. So, yeah, no, the point of the dad thing was about leading Liverpool again. Do you know what, ironically enough, on the day that, sorry, because I have a little bit of black humour occasionally on this sort of thing, the day that my dad died, did you know that Manchester United beat Newcastle 1-0 at St James's Park? Honestly, you couldn't write this if you tried. Literally, I came downstairs after crying and stuff and turned on the TV. And I turned it on just as Andy Carroll. God. I turned the TV on just as Andy Cole scored for Man United at St James's Park, and I literally just turned the TV off straight away, and I was just like, I don't believe this, for God's sake. So yeah, shout out for Man United for helping an already crappy day, horrendous day, even worse. Point is, again, first thing I went to was Liverpool. Obviously after like helping my family and stuff and trying to grieve and all the horrible shit that you have to go through when you lose someone. And we beat, ironically enough, given where I live now, we beat Leeds United 3-1 at Anfield. And funnily enough, Dad's newfound hero, Michael Owen, scored 2 goals. I believe he scored the first goal as well. I think Michael Owen scored the first goal after my dad's death. So I know a lot of people hate Michael Owen, and for a long time, don't get me wrong, I did as well. I'm still furious that he played for Man United. Having read his autobiography now, I can understand from his point of view why he felt compelled to do what he did. I don't agree with him, but I can respect his decision to a certain extent. Time heals all wounds, all that. So yeah, for that score, I will, obviously Michael Owen and the lads did not know that Leon had just lost his dad, but I will genuinely always be grateful to Michael Owen for scoring that goal, because as soon as I heard that we'd scored, obviously broke down in tears, and then second goal I celebrated a bit more, and then the third it was probably just like euphoria from being through shit like that. Um, Literally just running around the room, my bedroom, celebrated and stuff. So I'll always be thankful for Michael and the lads that day. Beat Newcastle 2-1 the very next games. If you want to know the match I'm on about, it was 1997 December. Steve McManaman scored an absolute worldie. We went 1-0 behind. I can't remember who scored the first goal. It might have been Robbie, potentially. I'm not too sure. But I do know that Steve McManaman scored like one of the best goals, like genuinely, that I've ever seen Liverpool score. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just, he just got the ball on the edge of the area, and it was like this deliberately sliced shot that just absolutely rocketed into the top corner. So yeah, again, another example how Liverpool were there for me. Like I said, folks, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, because like I said, hopefully I will have all this down in a book at some description, which is kind of why I'm doing this now, because I'm going to listen back to this as that. I'm using you guys as guinea pigs, because like I'm basically going to listen to this back as, you know, like kind of like a dictaphone testimony and stuff, and if I get some other ideas, then I can put it in a book and whatever. Yeah, and the point is, folks, Liverpool have always been there when I've sort of needed them. Trying to think of other examples. A bad time of when Liverpool were there was when I lost my nan, who I loved very, very much. Shout out to Muriel. Everything good about me comes from her, more or less. And do you know, I don't this is really bad. I can't even remember the year. I want to say it was 2008, maybe. And you remember I was saying about the Everton thing when I was nearly dying. This time, the day after I'd got home from Leeds, back to Leeds from the Midlands when my nan died, I put the radio on again this time to find out that Lee Carsley had scored the winning goal for Liverpool for Everton against Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. And yes, if you're saying, did bro just say Lee Carsley? Yes, that Lee Carsley, who was the manager of England for a very brief time. That one. Trying to think of other examples. I'm sure one of my friends who used to be my missus, which is a long, long, long time ago, and we're good mates now to this day. It just didn't work out, but I remember the day after breakup, Liverpool beat, was it? I think it was Bolton Wanderers 2-1. Roy Hodgson's last win, would you believe? In fact, was it Bolton? I'm fairly sure it was Bolton. It was the start of 2011, I do remember that. And we went 1-0 behind. It was like, Liverpool at the time were not helping mental health wise as it was. We'd literally, this was at the height of the George Gillette and the Tom Hicks debacle, which, talk about mental health, that really did not help at all. It really did not help. There was a while for a time during that I actually thought Liverpool were going to go out of business. Genuinely, the way that Gillette and Hicks were running the football club, I mean, for fuck's sake, we were going to the High Court, Texas ambushes, we were like third for fourth from bottom for the Premier League. They were selling all our best players, like Torres, Masha, Alonso had already gone, and they broke up a team that could have won the Premier League. I have no... If Liverpool had been bought by, well, obviously Manchester City, but if we'd been bought by an owner or an ownership group who weren't complete incompetent bellends, and we'd kept Alonso, Mascherano, Torres, and had them playing with Steven Gerrard, I have no doubt Liverpool would have won that Premier League. Obviously, we went super close in 2008-09, and all we needed was to make a few additions that summer, and then we lost Masher at the start because we couldn't afford to, well, basically couldn't afford to pay his wages because of the high interest debt that those two idiots put on the club. And then we lost Torres, and that's when Kenny came in and stuff. And I think one of his first matches, I think we lost to, I can't remember. I think he lost the first two matches. We lost to Blackpool away from home, 2-1. Second time we'd lost to Blackpool that season. And the next game, it was the Merseyside derby again, funnily enough. And Mr. Jermaine Beckford scored at the Annie Road end to put Everton 2-1 up. Now, at that point, I could be wrong about this, but we were, I think, on a live table about 2 points above the relegation zone. Fortunately, we got a 2-2 at the end, and then we started winning. I think we actually finished that season randomly in 6th place. I mean, this is still only in January and February, but I mean, still, it was horrendous. So, just as another sidebar, those who are saying good riddance to Fenway Sports Group, and believe you me, I have hated them on occasion as well, especially with the Super League. Those of you whose memories do not extend that back far due to age, if you dislike Fenway Sports Group, I would urge you to research the tenure of George Gillette and Tom Hicks. If you think it's been bad the last 10 years with, like, whatever, 10 trophies and Jurgen Klopp and all that, I'm not sure how you would have coped with the shit that we had before, because let me tell you, it was horrendous and appalling. Anyway, so yeah, you get the idea, folks. You get the idea. So Liverpool have always been in and around my life at times of tragedy, and I didn't actually realise that they were always Liverpool have always been the first thing I've turned to. And maybe that's the same for every sport. I don't know. I've got no idea. Maybe it's just my stupid lizard brain. But they've always been a comfort even when they've lost, because it's just taken my mind off it. There have been times when I've lost family members, and days later, after a horrific thing like that, I found myself sat there going, how the bloody hell's he missed that chance in this, that and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And it's literally just taken me out of that reality into another reality. So, but I didn't realise how much Liverpool meant to me, / also were a comfort kind of thing. And like I said, there's been loads and loads of examples. Obviously, I remember when my son was about to be born, Arsenal and Aaron Ramsey very unhelpfully ruining my son's birth. Well, not ruining it, obviously, but putting a dampener on it by beating us 2-0 at the Emirates, which I was not really best pleased about. And there's been loads of examples since my son was born. There was an illness, unfortunately, in the family when we won the Champions League in 2019, which somewhat took the gloss off that, obviously. But it was still obviously a great night. Got to go and see it, but like there were huge problems that had to be dealt with afterwards. And yeah, there's been multiple examples of that. But the reason I'm saying to all this, and the thing that I'm getting to, is, and this is going to be the difficult one, so if anyone has commented, by the way, thanks for bearing with us. Now we'll get to you at some point, and like I said, sorry, this isn't the most pleasant of things to be discussing in the world, but right, here we go. Here it goes. About 3 years ago, and again, I can't tell you who it was with, but with a little bit of clever research from those of you, especially who live in West Yorkshire, I was working for one of the largest employers in West Yorkshire, basically. And until I can get myself firm on a legal ground, obviously I can't really say who it was. Yeah, I took up a new position in that particular wretched organisation. And again, I can't say exactly, God, this is frustrating because I can't tell you exactly what the whole thing was. Due to the effects of I'll be generous and say a set of people. In an organisation where I'd been poorly treated as it was for 16 years, basically the last 2 years of my life have been completely and utterly destroyed by, again, I'll just say a set of people, to be polite. Because of workplace harassment. And I'll get to the Liverpool bit in a minute, folks. There is, don't get me wrong, there is a Liverpool link to this. I won't go into all the horrendous details. Trust me, when the book comes out, I will be going through every single horrendous detail. Basically, for a period of 2 years, maybe 18 months, something along the lines, I'd been totally stressed out to the point where I was losing sleep, experiencing chest pains, putting weight on, probably having a bit too much of the brown stuff at the weekend, just to cope with what was going on at that god awful shithole, basically. And like I said, I'm not going to go into the whole thing because it's not remotely interesting. And I've been pushed to the limit, to the point where I was actually, like, genuinely afraid to go to work. Don't mind admitting that I was scared to go to work. It was, and again, people can say woke and it's a bloke saying he's afraid to go to work. Yeah, I was. Make no bones about it. I literally would have what I now realise as panic attacks before I went to work, because I didn't know what bloody hell panic attack was. I just thought that's how everyone felt. Like, genuinely, when I was described my symptoms to a doctor, and again, I won't go into it because it's private between me and the doctor and this, that, and the other. The doctor basically turned around and was like, how long have you felt like this for? And I was like, well, I don't know, well, most of my life. Why? It was just like, do other people not feel like this? And the doctor was like, well, some, but not loads. Yeah, you shouldn't really feel like that every single day. I was like, oh, right, okay, fair. So, again, 90s lad, we didn't have mental health foes. We just cracked on back in the day. I like I said. And look, I will just say, there's nothing wrong with cracking on at times. You just need to know when to crack on. There are sometimes, look, folks, life is going to be shit, and you are going to be covered in shit from the shitness of life. And sometimes you do have to crack on. You just have to, if you're on medication, take your medication and just say to yourself, right, today's going to be rubbish. We need to crack on, and you need to just get to the end of the day where you can grab a glass of wine and watch a film, whatever you do to relax. But as I say, I'd got to the point where I was actually afraid to go into work. That's how bad the situation was. And to bring it back to the beginning, on the 4th of April 2025, which is the header name of my channel, which I hope makes some form of sense now, I was subjected to one of the most horrific, I don't even know what to call it. I don't really know what to call it. Tearing apart is not a phrase or a word, but I don't know, like character assassination in public, in front of a panel of people, I guess. Um, which wasn't discussed with me beforehand, and wasn't the premise of why we went there. And I left that panel, and the only way I can think to describe it, folks, and those of you with mental health difficulties might get what I'm saying. I had to run outside, basically in tears and this, that, and the other, and something in my brain just went. It was like, do you remember the old school cassette tapes? You know, when you used to tape. For those of you who are old enough, you used to listen to Bruno Brooks on like Radio One. Do you remember when we used to have to tape the music on cassette tapes, and then the DJ would start bloody talking at the end of the song? You're like, no, sure. And you know, sometimes those tapes annoyingly broke and just went. That's basically what happened to my brain. Shout out to Mrs. Meta. I basically went home, had to go home late because I didn't want, again, 90s lad. I basically stayed out because I didn't want my son seeing the state I was in, because I felt at the time he doesn't need to know about bad things in life. Obviously, my son does need to know about bad things in life, but I was just like, ooh, I'm not going back now. And yeah, shout out to Mrs. Meta. She basically she basically had to give me a hug, and God bless Mrs. Meta, Yorkshire as they come. She was just like, right then, we're making a list. I was like, a list of what? Fruities and stuff. Right, this is what you're going to be saying to the doctor when you go to surgery in the morning. And I was like, but I've got work. And she basically turns around and said, no, you bloody haven't. You're getting bloody time off. And I was like, well, they're not going to give me time off for something like that. And basically, the wife was insistent. Like, had I not spoken to my missus, I would have gone back into it. And I dread to think at that point, looking back on it, how much more damage could have been done. We are in realms of potential. I'm not a doctor at the end of the day, but I have no doubt we're in realms of potential heart attack, because that's what my dad went on. And I always said many years ago, after my dad died, which, like I said, still affects me to this day, I always said that I would not, under any circumstances, die in the same way as my dad did and leave me lad on his own. I would rather be poor. I'd rather him being ashamed of me. I'd rather we not be able to do anything. But if you offered me my dad and none of the cool things that I've done the last 28 years, like going to Liverpool, going to America, and if you said I can't have all that, but I could have had my old fella for 28 years, I wouldn't even. I would have just said yes straight away. If I'd had stayed, like I said, I can't prove it medically. If I'd have stayed where I was, I would not be here now. I would be dead. And it's as simple as that, basically. So, went through the whole medical thing, and when you get referred, you basically have to do, like, I mean, again, those of you with mental health issues and stuff will know the deal on this. I went to a wellbeing service, which is kind of to help you, especially with the GAD. obviously courses of medication. I mean, initially, at first I had to speak to the doctor because I had no bloody idea. Doctor literally straight away was just like, absolutely no chance you are going back into work. And I was like, well, how long for? Like a couple of days, a week? And again, I won't go into the whole thing, but the doctor was literally like, yeah, you're signed off for 2 months. Simple as that. And I was like, oh, right, okay. And then you've got to learn how to do the signing off thing, which is quite stressful in itself. And that in itself was quite embarrassing because I have always worked. I am, in fact, working now while I'm doing this. I have, in fact, I'll show you my work today, folks. So, this lot, because as most of you, one or two of you know, I am now a business owner. Most of this lot is going to my store, including that lot. It doesn't look like it, but there are in the region of, 100 graphic novels that I need to list on eBay, Vinted, and various other websites, which is probably going to take me the grand total of at least, I mean, that's at least 3 or 4 hours work. So, yes, I am actually, in fact, working while I'm doing this, basically. So, yeah, I've always worked. Before this, I would say in 25 years of working, I would be very surprised if I've had more than 25 to 30 days off sick. Very, very surprised indeed. It's probably around 30, I would have thought, 30 days off sick in 25 years, I think that's, pretty decent. So there was humiliation involved in it at the start, like, why am I having to take time off for? Like, I've got to support my lad, which was obviously another hugely embarrassing thing. You feel like a failure as a dad and stuff, which again, I know now is not the way of thinking. But it was embarrassing. It was really, really embarrassing having to ask for that help. And I think that's one of the things, you've got to humble yourself, folks, sometimes. You've got to be not so much of a hard ass, and sometimes if you need help, just go out and get help. And again, if you have anyone telling you, like, oh, walk and you crack on with it and you do it till you die and stop bloody complaining and blah, 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 blah. Again, just ignore them because they are just utter and complete weapons. Just ignore them. Because they sound like a lot of the people that caused me at that workplace to be in the situation that I am now. So I know to ignore them. So yeah, basically, just trying to think from there because it was a bit of a blur. Had to tell my family about what was going on. Obviously, they were very concerned. Had to explain to my lads that, Dad's going to be okay, but Dad's brain's not working. Because we've always brought my son up to be, in this day and age, like, you do more talky stuff than you did in the 90s. So I'm constant with my son, saying, lad, if you want to speak about anything, and I've been like with my son since the age of 6, probably. If you want to talk about anything, if Dad says he is busy doing his work stuff upstairs, you grab me and you say, Dad, please listen to me. I want to talk to you about something. And I will immediately drop what I'm doing and come downstairs and help my son, as most parents, I'm sure, will do as well. And yeah, last summer was, other than my dad and possibly my nan, last summer was the most horrendous experience I've ever been through in my entire life. It was you had the effect of the medication. I'd never taken medication before. I've never needed medication. I now take sertraline, 100 milligrams and 50 milligrams propanol. So sertraline is for you. Is like your general complexion and your mood and this, that, and the other. There's more to it than that, but generally that's what it's for. I've got stomach medication that starts with Lara something or other. I don't know. And the one thing that I'm reliant upon is propanol, because that stops me from, well, doesn't stop me, but whenever I've got a panic attack, and generally it starts working within, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. So I had to get used to taking medication, had to go through the humiliation of speaking to my family, telling my friends what was going on. Looking at the financial impact if I was going to leave. I mean, it's not exactly the best situation of all time at the minute, but had I left, what was it, 17 months ago now, it would have been a horrendous situation. At least I now have, I don't know how long this business will go on for. It might only be a couple of months, but at least I've got, it gives me a little bit of time. Hopefully it'll go on for a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, you obviously think about the financial situation, and it was scary, I'm not going to lie. It was one of the most scary and horrendous things that I've ever been through. And you feel a lot of shame. I'm incapable of looking after my son. I've let everyone down. I'm weak. I'm failure, basically. I mean, that might not be everyone's experience, I don't know, but I mean, it certainly was mine. And I basically needed a lot of help. And on a sunny day in late April last year, it was either late April or early May, I always get that, I should know the date actually. Wasn't exactly the help that I needed, but I got the greatest gift and one of the best days of my life, which came at like a really, it just came at the right time. So I went to Headingley, waiting for one of my mates, waiting for my brother who was coming back from a wedding or something along the lines. And I was sat in the Oak Beer Garden, very, very nervous about a certain football match that was going to be happening in late April. Wasn't helped by the fact that a goal was scored against Liverpool by one of our old players, Dominic Solanke. I think I took a propanol with a pint of lager, which wasn't necessarily the best idea I've ever had. But then things calmed down when Luis Diaz scored in this game, and then Alexis McAllister hitting one of the best goals I've ever seen at Anfield. Then Cody Gakpo made it 3-1 at half time. Lads are all telling me, lads know what was going on at the time. They were all having to basically give me plastic bags to breathe in and out of. They say, "Will you bloody calm down?" Mo Salah scored about 10 minutes into the second half. I think it was, I can't remember who the Tottenham player was. Disasi, I think. Then scored a wonderful tap in from, I can't remember whose cross it was now, to make it 5-1 for Liverpool. And about 15 minutes later, the referee blew his whistle on this particular game. And Anfield erupted. I literally had tear. I'm trying to stop it from doing it now. That's why I'm wearing this. I've never been so happy. Obviously, not when, excluding when my son was born, my brother was born, and when the wife agreed to be the wife, obviously. And yeah, that was the day that Liverpool won the Premier League. Now, obviously, I'd already seen Liverpool in the Premier League before, but again, that was just the whole COVID thing, which I'll always love that day as well, but like obviously this was just amazing, and genuinely I've never felt, other than my son was born and I've got him to hold him in my arms, genuinely for like a selfish reason, I've never felt a feeling of joy like that in my entire life. It is the greatest, other than my son being born, it's the greatest day of my life, without shadow of a doubt. And it came just at the time that I needed it again, which is the whole Liverpool link, basically. So when I hope people can understand now, when people were having a go at Arne Slot last year, why at the time, look, I obviously agree now it was the correct decision, but at the time, I hope people can understand why I was so offended last year, because Arne Slot helped me with his team that played fantastic football. And don't let anyone tell you that first season. Yes, it wasn't Jurgen Klopp heavy metal football, but don't let anyone tell you that the Reds didn't deserve to win, because they did. They played some excellent football at times. Not always, but it was a very, very good team. That's why I'll always say to, and I always call him Mr. Slot because I respect him a hell of a lot. That's why I always say to Mr. Slot, thank you so, so much for that team and for that memory, because genuinely, hopefully I would have been alright by now, but Liverpool winning that league, I got to spend the day with my brother, who I love very much, and it meant the world to me. We got a hotel in our own city, which was absolutely freaking awesome, because I did say to the wife, I don't think it's a good idea if I come back tonight, and she immediately was just like, no, it bloody well isn't, you'll stay in town. And yeah, we had lots of drinks and stuff. Got some lovely food. Took it back to the hotel. Yeah, it was just freaking awesome. Lost my glasses though, which wasn't great. My sunglasses the next day, and yeah, that just get, in old school like Sega games and stuff, you used to get a power up, or like an extra life on Sonic. That was like an extra 10 lives. That just picked me up straight away. But yeah, so in amongst all this, I hope people can understand now a little bit more why I was so defensive about Arne Slot. Maybe I went a bit too far, but genuinely, if I ever see Arne Slot, I will go up to the man and shake his hand and say thank you so much for what you did for me. So yeah, that was brilliant. But obviously, the euphoria even wears off. Obviously, we went to the trophy parade, which was nearly a disaster because of what that utter and complete dickhead did to our supporters, and I hope he rots in prison for the rest of his life. Scared the living shit out of me and my brother and my mother. I'll never forgive that man for what he did. Nor will I forgive the national media or trolls on the likes of X and GB Bloody News for making out that it was actually Liverpool fans. Have you heard this story before? Going on some sort of rampage. It's like, no. You've tried this with us like 37 years ago. There are camera phones now. Don't even try it. Including that absolute dickhead, Andrew Lawrence, who had a peculiar habit of blaming England's black footballers for losing him the European Championships. Yeah, what a little bitch he is. But yeah, see, this is where the anger still is working its way through the system. But obviously the euphoria wears off. Went to go and see Ghana. It was great to go and see my national team. But then obviously you're like, well, what now? My time off work got extended even more because I still wasn't right, and I was having huge panic about returning to that place. And yeah, it was truly horrendous. And obviously, look, not to make this particular thing about me, because it was about his family, and it was about his wife and his children, and his parents and his brother. But what happened to Diogo Jota was, I still struggle with it now. Obviously, I went to go and see the Diogo mural that they've now created in his honour. A bit teary the other day when I went. The morning I found out, I couldn't get out of bed for. Came down to see me lads and everything, but basically I stayed in bed for 2 days. I was devastated. I'm still devastated now. I loved Jota. I loved his energy. I loved that he had a little bit of. He was a lovely, lovely bloke as well. Did stuff charity, but he had that little bit of, little tiny bit of a demon in him as well. I didn't love the way he used to get injured for Liverpool, but like the amount of times he would get injured by throwing himself into some absolutely ridiculous challenge, which he had no way of getting, but still did it for the badge and everything. I used to love that about him. I loved his celebrations. He has the best, other than probably Firmino, he's probably got the best range of Liverpool celebrations of all time. That thing with the joypad against Tottenham, after Richarlison had been doing that ridiculous pigeon impression, whatever the bloody hell he was doing, and then it just panned back to Richarlison looking like he was going to cry, and there were all these Liverpool fans. Obviously, I won't do the V's, but all Liverpool fans going way like that. That was brilliant. When he told Leicester City fans to go forth and multiply quite visibly. Yeah, and he was. Do you know what? He was one of the best, genuinely one of the best footballers I've seen play for Liverpool. He wasn't there for a long, long time. I think he was there for, what was it, 4 years in the end, 3 years? I forget, 3.5. But if you look back on it, in terms of an impact, there aren't as many. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of players for Liverpool that have made a huge impact on the club over the years. But in terms of the goals that he scored, their importance, in pressure situations, like when he scored the penalty against Chelsea in the shootout. I think if Jota had missed that one, I think we would have lost the shootout. I can't quite remember. And he just waltzed up like he was playing football in the park or something like that. Slotted it, Jota the slotter, and yeah, he just walked away like it was the most normal thing in the world. Like, he was. I loved him. I absolutely adore. I remember that summer there were rumours, obviously more about Nunes, and you know, Lucho and stuff. But there were rumours that Jota could potentially go himself, and I was outraged. I was like, well, what are we doing? He's the best striker. I still maintain, and obviously Mo Salah is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, footballers ever played for Liverpool. But I still maintain, in terms of finishing, I'm not on about ability, I'm not on about amount of goals, I'm on about pure instinctive finishing. Diogo Jota is one of the best I've ever seen at the club, and watch his last goal for Liverpool, the one against Everton. There isn't a single player in who was in that squad at the time who I would rather have taken on that shot than Diogo, because he was precision. He was a great man, and I was devastated with what I was going through at the time. Absolutely devastated. I can accept it now, but I still miss Diogo Jota to this day. I genuinely do. He was a proper good lad. And shout out to his family. Their loss is more important than my stupid shit at the end of the day. But he was a proper dude, Diogo, and I miss him very, very much. Obviously, that made things a shite side worse. But time heals all wounds, and I thought I was going to I thought about going back to work. eventually. And started to feel better with the medication. I'd been through some mental health counselling, had some time away, and yeah, stupidly I went back. Looking back on it, again, I can't, strictly speaking, say there were reassurances provided at the establishment that what had gone on before would not happen again. And they kept that promise, just the other way around. Um, what went on before was not what happened. It was actually worse the second time. And the only reason I have managed to survive for, which I'm quite proud of actually, an additional 9, 10 months, I think it was. The only reason I've survived is the support of my family, support of you guys, so thank you and everything. The only reason I survived was probably because of the medication I've taken, which came as a result of the support of my missus, who was the one who got me to go to the doctors and stuff. And Liverpool Football Club being horrendously shit, which did take my mind off it, because then if you follow this chronologically, this was the point. When I went back to work, I think I'm pretty much right in saying that that's when we went under that horrendous, awful, shite run under Slot. Where I don't know the exact figures, but if someone knows in the comments, which I will get to in a minute, so thank you guys for bearing with me for a while. I've been waffling on. I think we lost 9 games out of 12. Is that right? I think, and like, I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, we lost that bloody game to Man United. Where I mean, when we there was the Crystal Palace debacle when we lost from a throw-in. And we were losing and conceding in the last minute, and it was like, what the bloody hell is going on? But funnily enough, while Liverpool were getting shit, I was actually getting better. Still having trouble with my anxiety. I was still taking 2 Propanol a day, sometimes 3. Obviously, when I went back to work, that went up to 3 instantaneously, because obviously you're very, very nervous. And for a while, I'll give the devil its due, I thought things were going to be okay. Genuinely. And then January this year rolled around. Again, I can't speak specifically, so I'll have to speak in tongues, folks. Again, I will be fully burying the people who have done this to me one day, I can assure you. What can I say? I think I had to be put through something that's got a specific term in real life. How can I put this? Is there a comic book term that I can use? Got it. Let's say I wanted to be an X-Man. And in the Xavier School for Gifted Mutants, very often the X-Men, who are obviously real, obviously, will have to train somewhere in the Danger Room, called the Danger Room even. And there have been comics, I think I'm right in saying, where there are people who wanted to join the X-Men or be confirmed as X-Men who have had to pass the rigours of the Danger Room. So I was put in the Danger Room for a period of 7 or 8 weeks with a specific list of, let's say, Sentinels, Magnetos, and Toads that I had to overcome in a series of tasks, which would have to be evidence. I think at 6 I passed 5 of them. maybe 4, but it was well over the criteria that was needed. Um, and it turns out that there is another way, new human way of counting things that I am not privy to. Given that I was then told that I had in fact not passed any of these things, despite the fact that I had clear evidence to the contrary, which was lied about in the panel for gifted mutants boards of head teachers. And basically, you know how I like wrestling? It's only now that I realise that the whole thing had been a work. Complete setup. Massive piss take. Multiple people involved. And I was gullible enough to think that they'd changed, and they'd done nothing of the sort. They'd brought me back for a jolly up, basically. To the point where earlier this year I made the decision to go out on my own, which I'm currently doing at the minute. Like I said, I'm now a fully, well, licensed, I suppose, eBay trader with a little side hustle on Vinted now, which is going quite well. In fact, I've got some parcels to deliver. And yeah, I took the decision primarily because of individuals, shall we say. I am not under any circumstances dying in my mid-40s like my old fella. It's slightly different for him. There was a whole different thing, but he had heart disease and stuff, but he was under a lot of stress for his job and this, that and the other. And look, I would rather be dirt poor and live for an extra 30 years than put up with a bunch of glad-handing, nonsensical, douchebag yes men. I might have stolen that from someone, by the way. And yeah, I basically got everything set up, as you guys know, actually. So if you've seen my like toy shorts and stuff and this, that and the other, when I've been going to random places like, I don't know, Crossgates and bloody I don't know, Middleton and Dewsbury. Obviously I was doing my research on charity shops and stuff, and buying in stocks that I would be ready to go. I've actually had a really good start so far. The business has just gone over, I think we've gone over grand and a half in 3 weeks, something along those lines, which is a pretty decent start. Can't argue with it. Unfortunately, it's all gone on pills. But yeah, hopefully there will be some profits at some point that I can see. But yeah, it's going very well so far. Glad to be out of it. But then there's that phrase from, is it Godfather Part 3? Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. And the same unnamed organisation have contacted me in the last week. So this is a month after I left, right? So I'm now in my new life, cracking on, doing my business. Have contacted me saying that allegedly that I owe them money. And they just so happened to discover this fact after I'd already been paid, and despite the fact that all these things are meant to be done and worked out officially, as with any other place of business that you would get up and down this country, apparently the error was only discovered about a week after I used my wage, which obviously my wage was set up to do the business. I did unfortunately mention to the organisation concerned that I was actually leaving to start business, which I probably should have kept my mouth shut about that one. And they have just discovered that apparently I owe them money because of a fluke, allegedly. So I don't know why they are continuing to try and harass me. I really don't. I've tried to be as dignified as possible, but it is now getting to the stage, unfortunately, I'm going to have to consider taking certain advice, because I want to be left alone by these people, and I've just purely had enough of them. And yeah, a bit of an abrupt end, but that's pretty much my story, basically. So that's my mental health journey. So if you're wondering why is Leon always so weird for, that is the reason. Basically, I was destroyed by an organisation that should know better. Um, Hopefully, if anyone hears this, sorry it's been so depressing. I hope the Liverpool bits and pieces have maybe helped. But I just want to say to anyone who has mental health difficulties, is being affected by severe workplace harassment, and if you are in danger of losing your health or worse, folks, get out of it. I know not everyone can, but if you have the means to support yourself, even if it's only for 3 months, couple of months, 6 weeks, whatever it is, if you are at the point where you are worried about your very existence, a job is not worth losing your life over. So if I can say anything to anyone, and if you are feeling like shit because of workplace harassment or any type of bullying, or if you just need some help mental health wise, don't sit there and suffer in silence. Go and speak to someone. And yeah, basically that was it. I would say I hope everyone enjoyed it, but it was sorry folks, but like I said, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a little while. So yeah, thanks anyone who did listen, and I hope you're all doing mentally well yourselves. For the love of God, go and speak to someone. Right, I'm going to have a look, see if I've had any comments. Whoa! I've had lots of comments. Let's have a look. Sanjeed, hi Sanjeed. How long is your story? It was probably about an hour, Sanjeed. Sorry about that. SDZ, I am new to your channel. What mental health you had? Well, I hope that explains everything. SDZD. Basically, I tell you what, I'm just going to mess that up, so I'll just call you DZ. Basically, DZ. Sorry if you've already left, but basically, in terms of my own mental health, I have generalized anxiety disorder. So I'm up and down in terms of mood. Anxiety, which I'm taking my propanol and sertraline for. Very aggressive panic attacks. Not mental health, but sleep apnea, which has been made worse by the conditions of the organisation I work for. And not confirmed depression, but I'm fairly sure that I probably have a level of depression as well. So, Yeah, yeah. I hope everything that explains it. Let's have a look. Oh, lots of people. Hurricane Flowritz. Hello, Flowritz. How you doing? Um, Priya. I have one of the best mates called Priya, which I need to text. Hello, Priya. Um, let's have a look. Good luck with your channel. Oh, thank you, Priya. That's very, very nice of you. Cheers. Let's have a look. Literally just got the Michael movie and I'm watching it now, so not gonna stay. Hi Finn, you alright? Enjoy the Michael movie, mate. Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it as well. Well, I mean, should I ever get any human monies that I can actually bloody spend on myself, that would be lovely at some point. Um, Arne Slot is the Vince Russo of football. Whoa! Whoa! Arne Slot catching strays from 8495. The Vince Russo of football. Oh. I don't know if I'd go Vince Russo. Bischoff? Maybe? Because he came in and, like, dominated the Premier League for 84 weeks and then everything went to shit. Maybe? I don't know. I've not really given Arne Slot a wrestling equivalent, 8495. Arne Slot's wrestling equivalent. I'll say Bischoff for the minute, just because the 84 weeks comparisons. But yeah, I would have to give that a good four. Do you know what? It's very cool actually. What wrestling? That's given me an idea for something to write now. Actually, which wrestler matches which Liverpool official slash player? Well, I mean, Dominic Soboslai has to be Shawn Michaels. Seriously, that's an obvious one. Undertaker, Verge, maybe. I don't know. I wonder who No Salah would be. I was going to say Stone Cold, but that doesn't match Mo Salah, does it? Let's have a look. Would you take Balogun, the US men's national team shooter at Liverpool? He can do a job at the right wing too. Hello, Fly on the Wall. Well, I mean, well, if it's all right with Donald Trump, I suppose, yes. No, he seems like it does seem like a good player. But do you know what? I do feel a bit sorry for Balogun. Look, I'm not going to go into it. Most people know what my views on life are, shall we say? But I mean, this lad now is basically going to be remembered as that guy forever, and it's not his fault. I'm sure he did not ask the President of the United States to intervene on his behalf, and it's just made Balogun look like a huge bellend, basically, through something that's nothing to do with him. Would I take Balogun? To be honest, if he's right-sided, fly on the wall. I mean, in terms of where does in fact, I'll tell you what. Let me just have a look. Where does Balogun play now? Because did he used to play for Arsenal? If I'm not much mistaken. Just having a look now because I've got no idea. Oh, he actually plays for Monaco, who we played this weekend. I don't think he was there. Maybe he was. I've got no idea. Generally, I'll have to look that up now. I don't recall Balogun coming on, so I don't. I think he would have got quite a warm reception from the crowd, to be honest. By the way, the speaking of people in the US, to my US brethren, your vaunted Jeff Bezos has not gone down especially well in the red part of Merseyside and various other places. I don't think people are hugely impressed with it, to put it that way. But yes, there we go. Would I take Balogun? How old is he? 25. Well, I can tell you for a start off, if FSG is still in charge of transfers, no, they will not take Balogun. He will be considered too old. Fly on the water. Now, that's not even me being sarcastic. That's genuinely, that will be FSG's position. I can pretty much guarantee, because they'll be on about, oh, he's got no resale, blah blah blah. FSG, like, what is it, 20 to maybe 23. I mean, I was very surprised they took a gamble on Hugo Ekitike with him being so old at the age of 23, but still. I'd be surprised if it happened, but you never know, you never know. Hey, Millikan. How you doing, Millikan? You alright? Do you think it's racially motivated? Oh, my stuff. In all honesty, to be honest, Millikan, no, I don't think it was ever. Well, again, because I need to be careful on the ground I'm at the moment. There was an individual who did not seem hugely keen on me for an unknown reason, which I'm fairly sure I know the unknown reason. The individuals concerned, no, I don't think so. That's one thing I'll give them. I don't recall ever feeling racially threatened or anything like that. I mean, obviously I would come out and say, I'm not going to lie about it. I would literally be coming out saying racist and all this sort of stuff. I don't think I can honestly accuse them of that. I just think that they are very heartless people who like to gameplay, basically. Yeah. Like I said, Millikan, I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea. What I would like for them, genuinely, is to fuck off now and leave me alone. Excuse my language. Like I said, I haven't worked for that organisation for well over a month, and now they're getting in contact with me again. I don't want anything to do with them, and they keep getting in contact about random things, now accusing me of owing them money, which they basically have just discovered after my last pay, after I've told them that I'm starting a business, which they would have known fully well the impact of the sort of figure that they're asking me for. Do I think the whole thing's deliberate? Yeah, I really, really do. There's not a great deal I can do about it, Millikan, unfortunately, but just wait for the process to finish, and then, like I said, the best thing I can do is turn my attention to doing things like this, turn it into a positive, trying to help people, tell my story a little bit, turn them into funny Substack and Reddit articles, and giving this a go and turn this into a business. I mean, one thing, I'm really grateful for that organisation, for all the cardboard boxes and all the padded envelopes that I've collected over the years, which they used to give me stick about, looking at him taking his cardboard boxes home. It's like, yeah, well, my whole delivery service now is being run by your padded envelopes, and basically I don't have to buy any sort of packaging material for probably about the next 3 years, so who's stupid now? Anyway, is that Obi-Wan Kenobi next to Optimus Prime? Oh, that hello, Jacob. No, that is from. Let me see if I can get you a thing. That is from a comic con that I went to. That's run by a place called Unleashed Events. They're really, really good, actually. It's actually Rob from Game of Thrones. So whenever you go to the Unleashed ones, basically, they give you like these. I haven't got any more actually with me, but they've got like these little leaflets and stuff like that, where they've got like these like Funko bobbleheads and stuff, and this, that, and the other. Oh, breaking news, folks. Chelsea make inquiry with Arsenal over Miles Lewis Skelly. Sorry, folks. Sidebar. I don't know because obviously I've been busy with my business. Did I not hear correctly? Sorry if I've misheard this. I may have just made this up. Did I not hear that Chelsea were under some sort of transfer embargo? Do you know what? I give up with them. I absolutely give up with them. This is like the second or third time I've heard in the last 5 years alone Chelsea not to sign players and this, that, and the other, and blah 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 blah, and yet they have this infuriating habit of being able to sign players. I don't get it at all, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's a Funko from a Leeds Comic Con that I go to, Jacob. Basically, they do like Comic Con events all over the world, all over the country. Actually, in fact, shout out to Unleashed Events. If you've seen my Comic Con page, they are responsible for half of the content that I've got, so I probably should thank them for it. I definitely recommend, if you are into Comic Cons, Jacob, going to an Unleashed event, because they've got ones at York. Where else have I been? Sheffield, Newcastle, Donny, obviously Leeds, where I'm from, Hull, I think. And they're really, really good, actually. So yeah, shout out to Unleashed Events. Take on Bezos buying Liverpool, and did he buy majority or the whole thing? Right, Jacob. Basically, as it stands, Jeff Bezos is, let me try and see if I can get this right, part of an investment consortium who are trying to leverage a stake of a third of Liverpool Football Club. So, i.e., FSG still there, but Bezos is part of an investment consortium which includes Lakshmi Mittal, Amit Bhatia, Severin, whatever his name is, that weird looking dude from Facebook, not the actual weird looking MAGA douchebag person, Cluckerberg, whatever his name is, the other guy, basically. So there's 4 or 5 of them, and there may be some other people, I don't know. So they're trying to get, I mean, it's pretty much confirmed now, so they will be getting like I don't know, essentially a third of Liverpool Football Club. So I believe that FSG will still have the final say on transfers and so on and so forth, and this, that, and the other. But basically, the ownership value of those people, and again, finance is not my thing, to be honest, Jacob. I would probably recommend an article on Financial Times which explains it more. There's a really good piece on Sky Sports News as well if you want more education, and I'd recommend This Is Anfield as well. The idea that Jeff Bezos, the 4th richest man in the world, is just going to give money to Fenway Sports Group and then not ask how it's being spent, and Lakshmi Mittal, who is, I believe, the 30th richest human being in the world. I think he's into he's manufacturing, I think, steel works and stuff like that. The idea that those two gentlemen will just give money to FSG and say, yeah, spend it on whatever you want, we're not asked. Look, that is absolute nonsense. They will want a return on their investments, and I'm sure they'll want to say. How bothered Jeff Bezos is over a football club, I have huge reservations over. So I did a live stream last night. I'm going to be completely honest, Jacob. Hey, Daniel Christopher, how you doing? You all right? Good luck with the channel. You'll never walk alone. Oh, thank you, Daniel Christopher. That means a lot to me. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Because that was... I'm glad I'm talking about Liverpool again now, because that was quite rough earlier talking about all that stuff. But no, genuinely, mate, thank you. Yeah, no, in terms of the Bezos thing, Jacob, like I said, I'm not going to be shy about it. I don't want Jeff Bezos at Liverpool Football Club. If you do, it's not me saying, oh, I think your opinion shits or anything. Look, if that's your opinion, you want Jeff Bezos, fair play to you. I'm not one of these that goes round saying, you should have my opinion. If you disagree with me, fair play. Not really that arsed. And if you think it's good for Jeff Bezos to come into Liverpool, then good. Look, hopefully I'm proven wrong. Maybe Jeff Bezos is a closet Liverpool fan and has been doing all this horrible MAGA bloody shite and exploiting workers at his pound shop bloody packing factory. Maybe he's going to give it all to Liverpool Football Club, and like he's going to be sat there like the Omen, saying it's all for you, Liverpool. Hopefully, not doing what that woman did off the ledge in the Omen. If you have ever seen the Omen, by the way. Hopefully, it's fantastic news for Liverpool, Jake. I mean, look, there is a school of thought we're here to support Liverpool Football Club. We are here to support the players on the field of play and get behind the lads, roar them along to victory. And at the end of the day, if Liverpool win it on the pitch, does it essentially matter who owns Liverpool Football Club when we are in the ground watching it? I suppose when you are watching the game, no, because Jeff Bezos cannot hit one in from 35 yards out into the cop end. He's going to be an owner, along with Mr. Henry, along with I've completely forgot his bloody name, Tom Werner, along with Lakshmi Mittal, Amit Bhatia, this Severos guy, and whoever else is going to be in charge of Liverpool. Does it matter when Liverpool are winning? No. And this isn't me trying to put myself like as the paragon of virtue by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just being honest with you, Jacob. I don't like Jeff Bezos because of what I've heard about him and some of the behaviour that I've seen him exhibit, particularly over the last year. I'm just going to be blunt, his association to Donald Trump. Most people know that I don't want anything to do with someone I consider to be a lunatic at the end of the day. Yeah, I don't want any sort of MAGA association with Liverpool of any kind whatsoever. But I am but a bespectacled 46-year-old man in a office that doubles as a bedroom now in South Leeds with a tiny YouTube live stream thing. It doesn't really matter what I think about Jeff Bezos at the end of the day. So am I happy about it? I'm going to be completely honest, Jacob. No, not at all. But I will carry on supporting Liverpool Football Club. The moment I will start intervening is, and I very much hope, I'm sure Spirit of Shankly will be on this, and all the other fan groups as well. I'm sure they will already be doing background checks, getting in contact with the club, and I'm sure they will definitely want supporters club representation, and they will do the necessary work. I'm sure they will definitely do that. If Bezos comes in and starts dicking about with the club, a la Tom Hicks and George Gillette, that is the point where I will become extremely annoyed. But yes, folks. Right, folks, before I go, because I've been on doing it for nearly 2 hours, right, I think I've just seen my door moved a little bit as well, so I think there might be a little person who's been listening who has maybe come back with his mother. I am just going to go on to give you a little bit of Liverpool content, by the way. I'm just going to have a look at if there is any news that has happened with the Reds today, because I'll be completely honest, I haven't seen anything. I literally went onto this and did this straight away. This is the first thing I've actually done today, so I'm just going to go on one or two Liverpool searches and see if there's any news about anything. Right, I'm just going to grab my laptop. Let's have a look. There's an article on BBC Sport about Udweke. I really need to What the hell is this? Unhappy PSG given extra Super Cup dressing room. Um, does anyone know about this, by the way? Sorry, because I've literally not seen anything all day because I've been doing work and then I've come straight on to do this. An extra dressing room. Let me have a look. Right, this is from BBC Sport. What the hell is this? Paris Saint-Germain have been given an extra dressing room for the Super Cup after making their pre-game frustrations clear. Because the dressing room is too small. I'm not even gonna. I'm not even going to make a comment on that. Yes, Paris Saint-Germain have had a tantrum because they have a small dressing room. Apparently, Christ, isn't that Freudian? I don't even know what to say to that. To be honest, I mean, like, I'm sorry if you'd complained about something like that in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, you would have been booted out of the dressing room. I mean, that is, yeah, that I don't even know what to say to that, genuinely. Is there any news about the Mighty Reds? Let's have a look. There's no news about the Mighty Reds at the moment, but has anyone heard that? I'm just going to read this. Forest owner Marinakis suing Palace for defamation. Oh, this will be over that whole when Forest got into the thingy league and Palace didn't. I'm not sure that's gonna. Yeah. Obviously, we've signed Araujo. Obviously, goes without saying. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Then. Here we go. Then. Right. The Liverpool Supporters Union have released a statement about Jeff Bezos as well. I'm going to try and have a quick look at that, guys, as well. I did think there'd be something at some point. Let me just go on their live page as well. Right. Okay. Liverpool support. Right. So this is from the Liverpool Echo that I'm reading now. Liverpool Supporters Union released statement as Jeff Bezos and FSG talks continue over £1.4 billion deal. Spirit of Shankly, I thought it would be them, have revealed Liverpool would be willing to hold talks with supporters. Says should investment plans reach a formal stage. So, Liverpool Supporters Union, Spirit of Shankly, have questioned Fenway Sports Group over the proposed investment in the Reds from a consortium that includes Amazon owner Jeff Bezos. Discussions remain ongoing with the group, which is being led by former Queen's Park Rangers director Amit Bhatia over a possible 30% stake in Liverpool FC that could be worth as much as £1.4 billion. Bezos would participate as an investor alongside Eduardo Severett, that's his name, one of the co-founders of Facebook. Bezos is listed by American finance publication Forbes as the third richest man in the world. Oh, sorry, Jeff, I do apologise. With an estimated worth of 207 billion, while Saverin is said to be worth 24 billion. So he's, like I said last night, he's in the poorhouse compared to old Jeff. Right, so the statement from Spirit of Shankly said, following initial reports of a potential sale of a stake in LFC, Spirit of Shankly wrote to the club at the end of July seeking further information and greater clarity on what it would mean should a sale go ahead. We asked when is the ownership expecting to conclude a potential sale, what will the purchasers get in return? Board seats, level of involvement in the club, and control of the club, and off the pitch dividends or other financial returns. Is this part of a planned wider sale or a one-off? And what is the reasoning for FSG considering such a sale? What due diligence is being done on the potential investors' owners? This is about their plans, reasons for purchase, and involvement in sports or business elsewhere. We also asked for a meeting and reiterated that given the events that led to FSG's purchase of the club, who owns it and how they control it, putting the interest of LFC and its supporters first is fundamental to us all. And then the statement continues. Yeah, so basically, Spirit of Shankly have just asked for clarification on like what is going on with Bezos. Look, obviously, a lot of us old school Liverpool fans are very worried because I remember nearly 20 years ago now when other American allegedly millionaires and billionaires came in to run the club, and yeah, they ran the club into the ground. We will have a spade in the ground within 60 days. Well, you certainly put spades into the heart, didn't you, pair of idiots? Right, I'm just going to have a look on Transfer Centre. Is there anything to do with Liverpool? Is there anything? No, just Miles Lewis Skelly, apparently, from Chelsea Football Club, who apparently have a transfer ban but are allowed to sign Arsenal footballers, which doesn't really make much sense to me, but still, never mind. Nothing on Ornstein. Fabrizio, let's have a look. Oh yeah, so Ndukwe will leave Liverpool on loan from next week. Plan decided, according to Romano. Proposals already arrived from Portugal, and not only up to the player and LFC to pick best solution. Right, so Ndukwe, because of a certain other really helpful thing decided by the British public 10 years ago, has to leave because of work permit criteria when we have no defenders, which again, yeah, yeah, don't have the words. It's like the bloody gift that keeps on giving him. Right, so Ndukwe confirms loan interest. This is from the Echo. Liverpool wait on Ramsey decision. Antonio Areola will reportedly hold off before making call on Calvin Ramsey's fate this summer. Given Liverpool's current concerns over right back, it makes sense to keep Scott in-house for now. Yada yada yada. The Athletic reported the Reds will delay a decision on his future, but now failed to rule out a departure in the coming months. I've already said this before, guys. I know people are not keen on Calvin Ramsey. I would keep him. I take the point Araujo can play at right back, but he's been brought in as a centre back. We need centre back cover. He can't be playing right back. Frimmers, I think, is back from injury now. Still no idea what's going on with Bradley. I would personally keep Calvin Ramsey. I don't, to be honest, I would be letting a maximum of about 5 players out of that squad go. Because if we aren't going to sign any more players, we need as many hands on deck as humanly possible, personally, for me. Lewis Kumas. The new Liverpool boss. So it looks like Antonio Areola is going to keep Lewis Kumas. That's literally just happened, what, a couple of minutes ago, I think? Like 20 minutes ago. Look, Kumas was brilliant the other day. He was absolutely sensational. I would definitely keep it. I think Lewis Kumas might have moved himself up to our 6th best option after his pre-season, and Areola does seem to like him. I think he's really, really good, guys. Really good. I would, like I said, because of what I was talking about earlier, the whole generalized anxiety disorder. I do not like the idea of Liverpool not carrying squads with less than 50 million players, basically, due to all the injuries we've had. I would like to keep as many attackers as humanly possible. I would not let Will Wright go. I would potentially maybe let Jadon Danns go out on loan just so he can get his career back on track and then come back and play for us. I wouldn't let Gakpo go. I literally would not. I would keep every single one of them, to be honest. Even if Cody Gakpo ends up being our seventh choice striker, fine. Couldn't care less. Just keep as many of them as humanly possible. So yeah, I'd definitely keep Ramsey. It looks like Shimikas is staying with us because I don't think there's going to be any movement at left back. Obviously, when the Barcola thing now is getting very annoying. I've got to be honest. Is he signing or is he not signing? I mean, this now has been going on for at the very minimum a month, and I know we had the World Cup up until 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it's taking the piss now. So, like, are we signing or are we not signing? There is one thing actually. Arne Slot, who I thanked earlier, has been forced to release a statement denying reports over talks to take the Netherlands job, clarifying his next steps after leaving Liverpool. Hmm. So Slot basically has accused people who have been saying he's in talks with Holland and he's got to the last stages of basically taking the mick. Um, ah, so Giovanni van Bronckhorst and Sipke Hulshoff, i.e. our coaching team, taking roles with Feyenoord. Oh, that's interesting. I'm presuming. I wonder if Bram Bronx. I'm sure he used to manage Feyenoord. I don't know. But yeah, no. Slot has basically said he's only interested in club football at the moment because he's been. I'm just having a look who's been linked with actually. Apparently, he's been linked with Fulham and AC Milan. Well, I mean, you'll have a job because Fulham have just got Alvaro Arbeloa, and AC Milan are now being managed by Ruben Amorim. So I don't understand. That's just weird. Anyway, that is the Liverpool stuff that's happened today. So can I just say to everyone that tuned in earlier, genuinely, because that was really tough to do. Thank you very much for listening, folks. I do appreciate. I know it wasn't the most pleasant of things to discuss. It's not really pleasant for me. Like I said, I would like these people who are harassing me and harassing my family. I really would like them to. I really would like them to go away now. Unfortunately, they seem keen on extending torture. I genuinely don't know why. But yeah, hopefully one day I can get rid of them. But it looks like it's going to take a little bit of a while longer. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening earlier. That was really nice of all of you. And sorry it was not the most. I've sounded a bit more cheerful and upbeat than this normally, but I needed to get that off my chest. So thank you for people that did listen. Right, so in terms of what's coming up the rest of the week, I am going to try and now steal the television set from my son, who will no doubt be watching Minecraft or people throwing themselves off of buildings on whatever his gaming stuff thing is. I don't know. Yes, I'm going to go and watch Monday Night Raw probably in about 10 minutes. So I will be back here with the Monday Night Raw wrap up. As I say, I have seen nothing all day to do with wrestling or football. Absolutely no idea what's happened. So yeah, I'm just going to watch it from scratch and see how we go. So yeah, Monday Night Raw wrap up will be, I think probably now realistically it's going to be about 10:30 at night. Wednesday, am I doing anything? I don't know, to be completely honest. I have no idea. Thursday, AEW Dynamite wrap up. Will probably, again, because it's school half terms. Normally, I would like to get into the habit of doing it about 10 a.m. I don't think I will be able to do that. It's probably going to be about 6 o'clock. Oh, I think I've scheduled to do like the Geek Shop workout. hangout. So that's basically when I do a live stream whilst I'm working on my business, basically, and just talk about anything that anyone wants to talk about. So I think I've put that down for Wednesday, possibly. That'll be about 6 o'clock. Friday will be Liverpool Friday night, so I'll have a preview of the Como game. Saturday, I'll be doing the SmackDown reaction show, hopefully, maybe again about 6 o'clock. It might have to be a shortened one because the next day I'm going back to Anfield. Yay! So, for those of you who don't know, I went to Anfield this weekend. So, there's loads of content with Liverpool versus Monaco. I managed to get 4 of the goals, I think. Oh, this Friday as well, I've also got some bonus footage that I'm putting on the channel at about 8 o'clock as part of Liverpool Friday. So, yeah, that'll be on your screens about 8 o'clock. Primarily because those of you who know who I do Toy Shorts Friday on Fridays, I don't have any toy shorts. I've literally ran out. I need to go and get into town at some point, which had been the idea today, but sadly sleep apnea decided to intervene, unfortunately. So yes, leave that with me. I will try and get some more toy shorts for your viewing pleasure. So yeah, I'll be going to see Liverpool versus Como with the bro. Shout out to the bro. We need to get that organised at some point. Think we're going to be hitting Merseyside about 1 o'clock. Couple of drinks. Go to the stadium. Think match kicks off at 6:30, and then should be done by about 8:30. So I would imagine all the vlogs and shorts will be uploaded by maybe 10, 11 o'clock, something along those lines. Anyway. And yeah, that is it for the rest of the week, basically. I will continue my battle with those who shall not be mentioned, who I've just spent an hour about telling you about. Like I said, just to end, folks, if any of you are being workplace harassed, if you are suffering bullying, if you are a child suffering bullying, if you are suffering domestic abuse from a partner, if you are suffering any kind of abuse, don't stay silent, get yourself some help. What I've just put myself through the last 28 years, especially the last 2 years, is not worth it at all. It's not worth your help. And if you have to live within your means and not do cool stuff for the weekend like I was always obsessed with, the most important thing is that you're still breathing. Breathing is more important than going to see a concert and staying in a fancy hotel and putting up with your life being a misery for 6.5 days out of 7. So don't suffer in silence. Go and get some help. You're not alone and you'll never walk alone. So yes, thanks everyone for watching. And yes, I will be back with something fun later. We will have some fun. I will be back with the Monday Night Raw review at hopefully 10:30 this evening, which I'm going to watch now with my son. And yes, I will see you all later. Thanks very much for listening to me, guys. It is appreciated. Thank you.